Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and happy Tuesday. I'm Carissa Wiley from sprinkledwithglitter.com here for Pinkfresh Studio today. Welcome to my craft room. I'm so excited to be crafting and creating and chatting with you. I have two cards planned, so we won't do a whole lot of chatting because we'll need to get to work to get everything done. But I'm going to be featuring the new Magnificent Magnolias stamp set. We could use the press plate, but I think I'm going to stick with the stamp set today and creating a couple of window cards. I'm also going to bring in some other products from the January release. I believe it's called Beautiful Life. I do have it's Kathleen here joining behind the Pinkfresh Studio name today. So thank you, Kathleen, for moderating. I'll do my best to answer questions as we go along. But before we get down to creating, let me just remind you of a few things. Number one, we have two $50 Pinkfresh Studio gift card codes to give away today to all of you that are here live in the chat. And isn't that just so exciting? So let me tell you the ways that you can enter to win. You can chat along in the live chat as we are crafting, creating. You can help answer any questions that you may know the answer to. You can also share this video to a Facebook group or in an email message and a text message with friends and people you know who would enjoy it. And also, this is not a entry, but if you could give this video a thumbs up, we would really appreciate that. So thank you so much for doing that. Also, make sure you are subscribed and you have the notifications turned on for the Pinkfresh Studio YouTube channel because we share a lot of inspiration here and you don't want to miss out on any of that. All right, I see all of you over there in the comments chatting away already, so thank you for doing that. Now, if you are watching on the replay, never fear, we have a giveaway for you as well. Two $50 Pinkfresh Studio gift card codes will be given away for those catching this replay. All you have to do to enter to win one of those is leave a comment in the comment section. I'm making two different cards today, so you can let me know which of the two is your favorite in the comments below, and just do that. And like I said, don't forget to subscribe, turn on the notifications, and share this video. So thanks so much. Everybody's real excited. Oh, thank you for all your sweet compliments. Let's get down to the desktop because we have a lot to create today. I'm going to feature the Magnificent Magnolia stamp set, but keep in mind this product suite includes not only a stamp set, but there is a press plate, a die set, and a coordinating stencil set, all available in this product suite. I think I'm only using the stamp today. I don't think I'm going to use the stencils. I don't think I am going to use the die set, but keep in mind there's a lot of inspiration over on the Pinkfresh Studio site for this under the product listing. So if you look in the product listing, you will see so much inspiration featuring some beautiful ink blended Magnificent Magnolias. Raquel is here. Thank you, Raquel, for joining in. I'm so glad you're here. She is so talented on the Pinkfresh Studio team. Now, here's what I have in mind. I have two cards in mind because if you are stamping once, why not stamp twice, right? And we're not doing a lot of ink blending, but we are going to do some die cutting together today. And what I'm thinking is that we create a oval window card that features the Jody alphabet along with the Magnificent Magnolias. We're going to dress it up with a metallic frame. It's going to be chef's kiss. Reminder about the giveaway winners. Please make sure to check out the Pinkfresh Studio website or the past lives to see if you've won and make sure you claim your prize on time. And that applies to the blog hops and that sort of thing. So make sure you're checking that if you've entered to win. Okay, so I think we have all of the details out of the way. I will say that this card, my jumping off point for inspiration was a card by Carly T over on her Instagram. I'm not sure if she shared a YouTube video on it as well, but she had one over on her Instagram and I thought that is so beautiful. I'm going to kind of create something similar along those lines. It will be a little different and you'll see that. So I'm starting out with a panel of white cardstock here and placing it into my MISTI. This measures 4¼ by 5½ inches. So it's the exact same size as my card front. And I just realized I don't want the panels. I want the card bases. I'm gonna start with the card base this time, okay? I'm gonna stamp on the card base. We don't do that a ton, but you know, there's a time and a place for it. Now, you probably can't see that real well when my MISTI tool is laying flat, but you can see I've already scored my card base at 4¼ inches. So this measures 5½ by 8½ inches. It's scored at 4¼ And what I want to do is I've made like a little oval window template here, and I'm going to place it over my card front. So it's kind of difficult to see on screen, but I'm just placing it over that card front so that I can kind of see where I want to line up my stamp. I'm going to hold it in place with a magnet for now because I am not going to stamp with this in place. I'm just using it to align my stamp. So you can see that window there. It's just helping me line up this beautiful Magnificent Magnolia stamp. Now, my inspiration for this is like a lot of black and white. So like that clean, simple black and white look with like a pop of color. And we'll bring that in here in just a bit. Question, are there other ways to interact with other makers if I don't use Facebook? Maggie, you can interact on their YouTube channels and you can interact on Instagram. But as far as other platforms, I'm not real sure about that. So Jean says she's never stamped directly onto a card base, so this is very informative. Well, keep in mind, you can always stamp directly on your card base. So what I'm gonna do you see this beautiful Magnificent Magnolia stamp? I'm kind of lining this up to where I'm going to get a lot of that in the window there. So I'm just getting that centered where I can see the window that will eventually overlay the card front and getting that kind of positioned where I want it. And then I'm going to close the lid of my MISTI to pick up that stamp, okay? So I'm just closing the lid of the MISTI. Then I'm going to remove this little window guide that I've created. So that was just a little guide to help me get the right placement. So now I'm stamping directly onto the card base. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ink this up in black, detail black ink. And Kinnery's here too. Hi, Kinnery. So I'm just inking up in detail black hybrid ink. This is kind of a dye pigment ink combo. It's gonna stay a little more, it's gonna stay wet longer. So if it's something that you're ink blending, you'll wanna heat set this before you start ink blending, but we're not gonna do ink blending over this today. I just want a dark, deep, rich black image, and I have not stamped this stamp before, so it's not even been seasoned at all. So once I have that inked up, I'm going to stamp directly over the top of my card base. Remember, we're stamping on the card base today, and I'm just using my Pinkfresh Studio stamp press tool to put some even pressure all over that. So, all right, so there we go. Now, that is a beautiful image, is it not? Here's two things you could do. One, first of all, I'm gonna re-ink and stamp because I am using a stamp positioning tool and I want my black to be a little deeper and darker. But this detail black ink stays wet long enough and has a little bit of that pigment ink property that allows you to heat emboss over the top of this. So if you wanted to, you could put some clear embossing powder over the top of this and give it a little bit of extra dimension and shine. So awesome. Susie says she shared the link plus gave a thumbs up. Thank you so much. Now, I did want to mention that all of the products that I'm using today and all of the product suites that I'm using today, all those products are linked in the YouTube description below. So if you're looking for any of those, you can click those links and go straight over to that product page on the Pinkfresh Studio website. Look how beautiful that looks. I swear you could just leave this like it is with no blending or anything. It's just beautiful. Okay, so here is my image. And remember, we're making 2 cards. So before we move anything, we're gonna take our second card base. It measures, again, it's a 4¼ card base. So, or I'm sorry, an A2 card base. So it measures 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches, and it's scored at 4 1/4. Okay, same thing again. We're gonna ink this up. We're doing everything twice today because Carissa was a little bit crazy and decided she could do 2 cards in an hour. So we're gonna see. I wanted to give you so much bang for your buck and show you that sometimes when you pull out your stuff, some of these cards are easy to create multiples of. And this is gonna be one of those cards that's definitely easy to create multiples of. Martha says, I really love your pink Misty. This is a scrapbook.com Misty. So it's an exclusive color to there. So anyway, we are going to ink up 2 times. And for those of you who haven't joined me live, whether here or over on my own YouTube channel, I'm not a clean as I go kind of girl. I'm like a make a big O mess, like a tornado, and clean up afterwards. So, and it doesn't really bother me if my stamps get stained, so I won't clean this stamp right away. Okay, so now we have 2 card bases with this beautiful image on them. Is that not gorgeous? I'm just telling you, a simple colored sentiment strip on this, you're done. Now, that's not what we're doing today, but really, I mean, just a beautiful colored, maybe heat embossed on a colored cardstock and die cut sentiment. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous card. Maybe a little gold splatter. Anyway, so, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna set this aside. We're gonna let those dry because that is a hybrid ink, and I'm making a mess already. I love it. I love to make a mess and then just clean it all up when we're done. Okay, so now it's time to work on our window, okay? So I have 2 panels cut to 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. So these are just plain white cardstock panels. They're 110-pound Neenah Solar White Classic Crest. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an oval window in each of these card fronts so that I can overlay it on top. So eventually it will kind of be like this, okay? And we'll just have that peeking through. Lots of black and white on this card, so just keep that in mind. That's kind of what I'm going for. That was where my inspiration piece was. So in order to cut the window, we are going to use the nested elongated ovals, okay? So in just a moment, we're also going to combine this with the blanket stitch nested elongated ovals. So we'll do that there in just a moment, but we're gonna start with these plain nested elongated ovals, okay? And these are designed where they kind of nest, the shapes kind of coordinate with these blanket stitched. So we're going to use that to our advantage and create a frame using it here in just a moment. So I have 2 panels here. Keep in mind that I may not get through both of these layers at once, but if I want everything to be the same, I can start by die cutting both layers at once. And then if I don't make it all the way through, I'll show you what to do. Okay, so I have both panels lined up. I'm just placing them down onto my cutting sandwich here. So mine happens to have a magnetic plate that goes into it that I'm going to cut into. That will hold my die in place as I run it through the die cut machine. But if you do not have a magnetic plate, then you can grab some low tack tape. And what I would recommend doing is if you're going to tape it in place, tape into the area that you're not going to use. So I'm actually using this outer portion of my card front today. So what you want to do is actually tape into the inner portion. And that way, if your tape pulls anything up, it's not going to be a piece that you're going to use on your finished card. All right, so I have it centered here. I have taped into the center. I don't really need it. And I have both of my panels right here onto my plate. I'm going to finish off my die cutting sandwich here, and I'm going to run this through my die cut machine, okay? Being careful not to shift anything. Got to turn it on. All right. I'm just reading all the comments as this is going through my die cut machine. Okay, So we got a little focus issue there. Okay, we're back in focus. So I have 2 panels that I've run through. Oh, and I'm actually glad it didn't cut through both, because here's what's going to happen. On panel number 1, the one that was on the top, it cut all the way through. Perfect. That's what we needed. On panel number 2, and you can save this little oval for another card project. I'm going to be very careful to try to pull this tape off. All that pressure that I put on there is going to make that tape stick even more, which is why I recommend taping into the area that you're not going to use. Now, panel number 2 has not cut all the way through, as you can see on the back, but there's a nice indentation. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this die and I'm going to place the blade into that indentation. So I'm going to do it off of the magnetic mat, because what will happen is when you start moving it around, you'll kind of feel it drop into that line that was created by the die from the pressure. And once you feel it kind of lock into place, then you can hold your die in place again with your tape. And if you need another piece. Now, I technically don't need this tape, but I wanted to show you in case you're using a die cut machine that doesn't have, you know, a magnetic platform feature. So you're going to feel it lock into that kind of groove that was created by the first pass of the die cut machine. And then you're going to just hold it in place, and you can take it back over to your sandwich and run it through again. And then I'm going to have 2 panels that are exactly the same. Now, do these have to be exactly the same? No, because they're going on 2 different cards. So, but I just wanted to show you that. Perfectly set, not too oval. Erica loves the oval die. Yeah, these are very nice, kind of a modern oval shape. I love that about them. And there are press plates available that coordinate with this as well, and I'll show you those here. I have them on the back side. So these are press plates, so you could press these with your better press, or you could do like a foil situation here. Okay, so that's like when you start getting all the products in the product suite, it's kind of nice because you can mix them and match them to create various looks. So now I have 2 panels with the exact same oval window. Do they have to be exactly spot on the same? No, no. Gonna take off the tape here, and then I can set this oval aside. And what you could do is you could actually stamp that Magnificent Magnolia on this again, and then pop it up on a card, and then you would have cards 3 and 4 for today. But I only have an hour, so I don't know that we could do this. If we have time at the end, what I will do is I will stamp those and show you how you can do that. I won't put the cards together, but if I have time at the end, I will. Okay, so we've cut that, and now I actually put that back, and I don't want to do that yet. Now I've pre-cut one of these, but I'll show you where we're going. We're going towards a frame to go on the outside of this opening, okay? So in order to accomplish this frame, what we're going to do is we're going to start with a panel of metallic or glitter or whatever colored cardstock. Okay, this one happens to measure 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm going to start with the exact same oval size that I used to cut my window frame. Okay, so I'm going to place that right in the center, just like that, and I'm going to run this through, and I'm going to show you how these stack up so nicely. Hi, Donna. Welcome. I'm just reading the comments as this is all going through. Everybody's loving the ovals. Now, these ovals have been around for a while, but the blanket stitched version that I'm about to use for the frame, those are newer than the actual plain oval dies. So that was the largest of the plain oval dies, the nested elongated ovals. So I have this cut, right? It looks exactly like my other ones, but I want to create a frame, okay? And in order for this frame to fit around the outside of this window, that's why I started with the exact same die that I used to cut the window. Then I'm going to take the largest of the blanket stitch elongated ovals here, Okay, this is a larger one, and it is slightly larger than that largest of the plain ones. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to line it up right over that window, and you'll see, I'll hold it up here in just a second. I'm going to get it centered up first. I'm just kind of wiggling it into place where I have an even margin around the entire inside of that frame. So I'm just kind of wiggling it into place, just moving it until I get it exactly where I want. Now, if you don't have a like magnetic plate in your die cutting sandwich, then all you would do is, again, hold it in place with some delicate crafting tape. Now, do you see how my margins are even all the way around the inside of this die? So you're seeing the die here, but you're seeing the cardstock right inside of it. So you can see it to line it up to get that larger oval right around the window opening that we have. And then I'm going to run that through my die cut machine, just making sure everything stayed in place there. Okay, so this is going to give us a frame because we have an outer cutting die or edge that's larger than the window that we've already created. Okay, so watch what happens. This is the most beautiful, magical thing. Oh, I don't know why my front-facing camera keeps doing that. I just caught that it kind of blinked out. Isn't that beautiful? And now it's going to fit directly over my frame that I created on the window. So beautiful. Love it. Okay, so there's a new way to use some of these nested frames, like the plain ones and the blanket stitched ones and stuff like that all together. And then of course I have all of my extra ovals that I can use for other products or projects. All right, so we have our 2 windows, we have our 2 card bases, we have our 2 frames. Hopefully you can see where this is all going, just kind of like that. And now what I did do ahead of time is I worked on die cutting the Jody alphabet for the sentiments, not the whole alphabet. We didn't do that. I chose to use the word love. So these are the Jody alphabet. These are brand new for January here from Pinkfresh Studio. There is an uppercase available, which is beautiful, and they have these beautiful kind of pierced details. So here is a look at the upper. You get the full alphabet, A through Z. And then here's a look at the lowercase. Now, something that's really unique about the lowercase that you're not going to see in my card project today is that some of them have these beautiful flourishes. Now, the word I chose doesn't include any of the letters that have all those beautiful flourishes. So, you know, but I just thought I'd point that out. So you get the full alphabet again, and some of the letters you get 2 of, like the B you get 2 of because one has the flourish and one doesn't. Let's see, the J, there are 2 of those. The H's, there are 2 of those, one with a flourish, one without. And then on the back, the R, can you see how it has that extra little flourish? The T's, there's one with extra flourish, one without. And then, of course, the Y has 2 as well. So just wanted to give you an up-close look at that in case that was something that you hadn't noticed before. Now, the word I chose today to use is love because we are coming up on Valentine's Day. So I thought this would be appropriate. So what I've done is I've die cut the word love from upper and from lowercase Jody alphabet. I've stacked up 3 layers of the white. Okay, so these are already pre-stacked because y'all don't want to sit here and watch me just stack die cuts. I don't mind doing it. I kind of like doing it. I find it a little therapeutic, but this is not what you came for. So those are pre-stacked, and then I have the colored ones kind of in this ombre look that we're going to do a little ink blending on before we stack them on top. Leanne says she needs that alphabet. You can spell out any sentiment that you want. You can spell out any word that you want. You can spell out someone's name or initials, and that's really cool. So we're going to take the L's. Let's see. Actually, I don't need the lowercase L. So I have something kind of planned to make them a tiny bit different, these cards, but it's stuck to my grip mat. So I'm just going to do this. So L, we're going to do that. We're going to just put them side by side. And then I need an O and a V from the lower and an O and a V from the upper, because these are two different cards. So we're making two cards, which is why we're doing all this, okay? Janet says she really likes the stacked look versus foam because it makes it so much more solid. It does definitely give it more weight on your card front for sure. And also sometimes with certain die cuts, it can just be easier to stack it up rather than try to put foam behind it. Okay, then I grabbed some ink colors that I thought matched my cardstock really well. So I have peony, I have cherry blossom, peony, passion fruit, and raspberry bliss, okay? And these are from different companies and stuff like that. So, hi Julie, welcome. I'm gonna grab my 1/2-inch blending brushes from Pinkfresh Studio. I have some pink, different shades of pink ones kind of set aside. And I'm just gonna add a little bit of ink blending on the bottom of each of these in the color that kind of coordinates to give it a little bit of shadow. Okay. The ovals are linked in the YouTube description below, but they are the nested elongated ovals. So starting with cherry blossom onto this real light pink cardstock. Might have gotten a little carried away on the first one. That's okay. We live and we learn, right? Okay, so we're just going to give it kind of like a fade up, a little bit darker at the bottom, a little bit lighter at the top. I'm not actually blending all the way to the top. I'm just adding some to the bottom and allowing it to kind of fade out. Okay, so cherry blossom is done. And I am mixing color families here. There's no rule against that. Whoever told you there was a rule against that, you just tell them. Carissa said no. All right, so now we're moving on to peony, onto this little bit darker pink. And the thing about blending onto colored cardstock is that the colors don't have to match exactly. They can just be like, you know, similar enough in color that you're gonna get this same effect. So don't like necessarily look for something that is exactly the same color. Just look for something that's close enough and it will work, okay? So a little bit of blending on the bottom, and these will come to life when I take them off of this stained pink mat. Okay, now we're gonna move to passion fruit and our third color of cardstock here. So this is a more orangey, pinky red kind of. Okay, and that will bring in the red. Now you could actually use a red on the bottom of some of these pinks and it would look beautiful too. So try something like, I'm trying to think of what my reds are. There's not Berrylicious, but is it Candy Apple? Is that what it's called? That red onto a darker pink like this would look beautiful as well. Okay, and then finally we're going to Raspberry Bliss for our darkest pink. Now, honestly, of all the colors of ink, and I didn't try this out before, this is the one that I'm not sure if it's gonna be just quite right. Oh, but it's fine. It's totally fine. Okay. So and I know that there's some like mixing of uppercase and lowercase. You're gonna see my vision come. It's gonna be fine. Oh, you know what though? I need to uppercase ease. That's why it doesn't feel right. I'm like, that's not gonna work. Okay. Well, I'm glad I realized that before I put all the things away, you know? Okay, so we're just adding just a little bit of shading, pulling in the ombre feel just a little bit more. So I'm gonna stack these up and get them out of the way, and then we'll get to stacking these letters on top of our stacked up white layers, okay? Everybody good out there? Keep in mind that if you purchased the press plates. I have to clean this up because I have ink everywhere. So I know I'm not a clean as I go kind of girl, but you gotta get the ink off here so we're not ending up with it all over the place. Okay, I was gonna ask something and I totally forgot what it was. Oh, the press plates. If you have the press plates for this, you could do these same cards. You would just press onto your card front rather than stamp. So, okay. So now we have our stacked up. So 3 layers of white cardstock, and we need one lowercase O, one lowercase v. We need an uppercase, 2 uppercase E's, an uppercase V. I know this is the whole thing. O, we need an uppercase O. Okay. So now we're able to spell love twice, okay? I kind of played with something earlier, and just trust me. Just trust me. Now, this is the part I couldn't do ahead of time because I needed to stack them up. I needed to blend them first. So we're quickly going to add some liquid glue to the top of the stacks here, and we're gonna start adding the ink blended versions right on top of the white stacks here. So I'm going to do a few at a time. I'm going to grab my reverse grip tweezers to place them on. Donna says she loves the letters with the shading. It's a fun way to add just a little something something to them. And when we put them on our card, I think they're going to really, that ombre, because we have a lot of black and white going on, is going to be just such a beautiful kind of just standout feature of this card. And for those of you who missed the beginning, I'm just going to grab a block and put those over the top. For those of you who missed the beginning, this card was in part inspired by a card by my friend Carly T. Minner. And if you're not following her, she is a very talented card maker. So, and she creates with Pinkfresh products. So you want to make sure you check out her beautiful life release projects from Pinkfresh Studio. They're just beautiful. Okay. And I didn't ask Carly if this was okay, but I'm not doing a direct copy of her card. So, and I know Carly. We actually were roommates at an event one year. So I know that she wouldn't mind. So. All right, so just stacking these up. This is like maybe one of the most awkward things to do on camera, right? Because it's kind of fussy work. Some of you are at work while watching. Thank you. Terry asks, what is your favorite liquid glue? My favorite liquid glue, no, not small e. I know you think I'm messing up. I promise I'm not. I had this planned. My favorite liquid glue, what I use most, is the Barely Art liquid glue. Okay. Susie says she can't use regular tweezers after using reverse grip tweezers. The only reason I can still use regular tweezers is because I need to use them to pluck chin hairs. So I still use them. Gail loves putting together the stacks. It's kind of therapeutic. I don't love to do it on camera because, like I said, it can be a little awkward. And Deb says stacking letters is such a nice creative option and cheap. Absolutely. Okay. I'm just kind of scanning over the comments while I can. I'm going to put that aside for now, my liquid glue. Those look great. Okay. Now, while we're in the interest of just kind of getting things all prepped, kind of our mise en place, like getting all the little prep work done, I'm going to grab this is Butterflies in Bloom, and I'm pulling this out for the sentiments. I just want to use this little hello. I'm going to stamp it onto some black cards or some gray cardstock, and we're going to cut it into strips, and then we'll have that ready. And I think what I'll do, I'm going to get brave on you, and I am going to do it just old school with a block. Okay, Lori says, what would we do with our spare time if we didn't have chin hairs to take care of? I know, seriously. We would just have all the time in the world, wouldn't we? I'm gonna grab a scrap of white cardstock because I've never used this stamp before, and I just wanna make sure that I'm getting good images before I go for my final. Kind of helps to get to know a stamp and dial in your pressure. So I'm inking this up again with the hybrid ink, and I'm just looking right over my stamp and onto my cardstock. Sorry, my head was in the way, but that's just how it goes. Okay, beautiful. And again, I'll do this maybe down here. Okay. We have a whole chin hair conversation going on. Okay. Also eyebrows, you know, you get the ones that are like doing their own thing. I have this one that has like super growing capabilities. All right. Cindy says, I impress her using a stamp block. Well, you know, that's how I learned to stamp, was with a stamp block. Okay, so I'm going to place this in my trimmer. I'm going to do my best to get a little strip here. Looks pretty good. And then I'm going to rotate, because I'm going to cut these down. They're not going to stay this long. And might need to go up a little there. And then we'll just trim the rest of it down with scissors. Those long lines of that sentiment strip need to be, you know, pretty right on. Okay. All right. When Kelly says, when cutting letters, I always do extra for stacks. When I need a fast card, at least my stacks are ready to go on top of the letters. Yeah, and you could do that with sentiment words too, which is a nice way to kind of give them some weight. All right. So we have our pieces ready to go. And I'm going to start by putting card number 1 together, and then we'll put card number 2 together. Or maybe we'll put all our foam adhesive on at once. But first I'm going to start by just folding on the score line and reinforcing those score lines. Set my little frames and panels off. So now we have our card bases with the stamping and the score lines. I actually think we're doing okay on time, so that's wonderful news. We'll go into adhering our frames first. So we'll have our frame on the back of our panel. I'm just gonna run a line of glue around the frame. And I'm gonna do this twice, right? Because we have 2 cards. Oh, I'm making a mess. I love it. Okay, then I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna lay it on top and get it lined up as best I can. Just kind of scooch it into place so that none of the white is showing and it's lined up with the window. Okay. Then I just kind of run my fingers along the inside. Sorry, Leanne. The chin hair conversation makes her queasy. We'll stop. We'll stop. Hi, Susie. Okay, so we have our frame on our panel, and then we're going to go here. Oh, okay. Donna says, for some reason, I know my workspace would not look as clean as yours at this point. You're not seeing all the things around it. You're zoomed in. You just don't know. If you go over to my Instagram after this, I'll share a little scan of my workspace in my stories, and you can see that, you know, what you see on camera is not always what you get. You know, just keep that in mind. It's all an illusion. Okay. So do this a second time. Oh, you know what? Carissa. Oh no, that is the front side. I thought that was the back side for whatever reason. Not that it would matter a whole lot, but here we go. I'm making a mess. Just get that into place. Okay. Got a little bit of liquid glue out of the edge, but we're good. We're all good. Question, any tips on getting that frame on straight? Some of mine tend to be a little wonky. Well, I would use liquid glue. I would start on the long straight edges and get those right, and then just kind of push it into place as best you can. That's what I would do, just like I did it. It's all smoke and mirrors, says Susie. Yep. All right, I need a sip of coffee. Are you guys okay with that? Okay, so now we have our panels done. Let's add some foam adhesive to the back of our panels. So I'm gonna just I make panels of foam adhesive, and then I sometimes just trim them down into the size strips that I need. So I'm just gonna trim a few strips of foam adhesive here because we want these frames popped up over the top of our card base where our stamping will kind of be at the back of the frame. So there'll be some dimension separating the frame from the stamped image. So 2, 4, 6, let's do a couple more. 7, 8. Okay, we have 8 little strips. Stick that over there for the next time I need it. I'm gonna flip this over. So this is the back side of my panel that we're adding. Coffee is a mess or iced tea. And then I'm just gonna put like lines of foam adhesive around the back to hold this up over the card front. Now, I will tell you, I'm very picky about how I start my creative session. So those of you who are talking about messy, I cannot come into a messy craft room and feel inspired. I need to clean after my sessions and so that I can come back to a clean craft space. But as I'm creating, I tend to just throw things everywhere. So I'm not a clean as I go. I don't need it clean as I'm doing it, but when I start my crafty sessions, it must be clean and it must be organized, especially when I'm like working on large amounts of product in one day. I'm gonna just take the leftover strips and just kind of add a little bit of support to these corners where there's no foam. And then we will do the same thing to the other one. So, how y'all doing? If you have a question, it helps me when you put the word question in all caps before your question. It helps me kind of pick it out of the comments to be able to see it. Pamela, thanks for joining. Even if you're late, you can always go back and catch the replay from the beginning. So we're just adding some foam adhesive to the back of the panels that we've made. And then we're gonna start just assembling all of this together. And my vision is actually not even to add embellishments, although I have some picked out as an option that I can show you. Have some picked out, but I think we might add some faux black splatter like my friend Carly T likes to do, because this was, you know, an inspiration from her Instagram. So these are going to go right over the top just like this. I know it's a lot of black and white, but trust me, it's going to be beautiful. Now here's a little tip that we can do. If you have trouble lining up a full panel on a card base like we're going to do today, you can actually take your Misty stamping tool and you can take the black foam out, or if you're using a grip mat in there, you can take that out. And you can lay your card base, card base, into the corner, okay? Then we'll remove the backer from all of our foam adhesive. We're gonna do this twice. Remember, we're making 2 cards because Carissa was ambitious today. Okay, foam backer. You know what would be nice is if it would all just stop tearing and coming off in multiple pieces, okay? And everybody's loving the alphabet. The Magnolia is beautiful on its own. Like we said, we're using it in a very simple way today. There's so many options with the stencils and everything, but they also make beautiful backgrounds and beautiful focal images like this. Okay, so now we have all of the adhesive and we're gonna tuck this into the corner, line it up with the edge of the MISTI, and just let it fall into place along those straight lines. And now we have our card front perfectly lined up with our card base. So we're gonna do that again. Okay, we're gonna grab our second card base. I'm gonna stick it into our MISTI with it open. We're gonna remove all the adhesive backer. It's just not cooperating today. I need it to be fast because we're, like I said, making 2 cards. 2 cards in an hour is not bad, and I probably spent, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes prepping ahead of time with the die cutting of the letters. So you're gonna get 2 cards from this because we already had the stamp mounted. We might as well stamp it twice, right? So 2 cards out of an hour-long session, that ain't bad, if I do say so myself. Okay, so just pressing that into the corner, allowing it to fall into place, and now our panel is perfectly lined up onto our card base. Okay, let's set this aside. I am going to move the trash. I don't like the trash in the camera view for very long. How you guys doing? Yes, Donna says she uses her MISTI or a scoreboard. You can use a scoreboard. I just find most of my scoreboards don't have a lot of depth to them, and so using my MISTI makes it a little easier. Okay, so now here's the problem I'm having. These things are popping up because I used 110-pound cardstock. We're gonna just do a little loop of tape to hold them closed while we work on adhering our letters. Okay, so I know some of you thought I messed up because I'm mixing these, but this is the lowercase Jody alpha mixed with the uppercase, and I thought it would be fun to kind of do a situation like this. Okay, then on our other one, we can just do all caps, okay? And then, so this is like, isn't that cute with them mixed together? Love that. Okay, we're gonna trim these down and get them ready to go. And then it's really just a matter of adhering and then adding our sub-greetings. Just gonna trim these close, just so they're not taking up too much visual space also. I don't want them to like cover my letters too much, so I'm just trimming the ends off nice and close. Isn't the mix cute? I was kind of playing with it ahead of time when I was doing my die cutting, and I thought, oh, I'll do an all lowercase and an all uppercase, and I thought, no, I love the mix. So this is where we're going. All right, easy peasy. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this onto my grid mat and just kind of visualize the center here. And then what I like to do, actually, let's put these back in place. All of the pierced edges those go to the right, or the left-hand side, I'm sorry. All of them are on the left. So when on the O, that's the one that you could find, like, maybe it's a little difficult to figure out. I might use a T-square here to kind of just give me a line to go by. Okay, and then we're going to do that. Okay, I think we're good. So now we're going to just start gluing. Get my fingers out of the way by using my reverse grip tweezers. And we're going to go higher on the O, kind of keeping it within the margins of this uppercase. So I'm not going to go above the top of this uppercase letter. I'm just going to place that there. Uh-oh, my dogs are upset. Sorry if you can hear them barking. They had been locked up a little while this morning while someone was at my house doing a little bit of work, and so I didn't want to lock them up for the live as well. So they're roaming, and they're little dogs, and they think everything is danger. Goodbye, budget. It's been nice, but this live is doing me in. Erica, I'm so sorry. Okay, so then I have that there. We have the ombre situation going on, and we're going to bring the E up a little bit so we get like kind of like this going on. Okay, I just muted for just a second so I could give my dog some direction that he's clearly not listening to. Okay, so here is this one. I love the mix of the upper and lowercase. And I'm just going to put a magnet over those to kind of help hold them down. And then we'll add our letters to our second card. Okay, I brought the dogs in so they can't see outside. So you may hear them kind of under my feet, but I figure that's better than barking their heads off outside. So let's see. No. Have one trying to get up on my lap right now. Okay, so L, O. I'm not really pushing these down firmly. I'm kind of like just putting them down, and then if I need to scooch, I can. V. We don't want to scooch too much because we'll have glue everywhere, but we can kind of, you know, do it. And then I'll bring in my T-square ruler and just make sure that everything's kind of lined up along the bottom. Ooh. We're doing good. It's 10:54 here in California. It is at 12:54 Central Time, which is where the Pinkfresh studio offices are located. I believe Houston. So they're on Houston time. So T-square, and we'll just kind of move some of these into place. Make sure the tops are lined up. And this V is giving me some grief. Okay. Now, another way you could do this is you can line them up on your grid mat, get them evenly spaced, pick them all up with a piece of like low tack craft tape, and then flip them all over and add adhesive all at once, and then stick them onto your card, so that you could stick them all on at once. But you know what? I think we did pretty good on that. So just gonna take a magnet, stick that over the top, let it marinate for a second. We're gonna go back to card number 1. We're gonna grab our little hello. We're gonna place that on there. Luckily, I have this little strip of foam adhesive. Some of you have 3 pups. You know what? I really need to work on the barking situation with them. And I know how to do it. I just, it's so much, it's a lot of commitment to be very consistent. And that's what I lack with them. So I'm gonna grab this. You could put this here, so above, but I kind of like it overlapping the letters just a little, which is why we trimmed it to be kind of small. So we're gonna do a hello love, and we're going to, okay, we're wrapping this up so Kathleen can start, we're gonna do a couple more steps, but Kathleen can start choosing our winners from our live chat. Thank you all for chatting along with us. But what I do want to say is that there are 151 of you watching and only 83 thumbs ups. So let's get that. And then once we get that up there, then we can do our little giveaway. My L wants to come up. Okay. How cute are these? So a little mix and match, a little 2-card project suite. I don't like this one here. Do I like it in the middle? Oh, we could do that. We could do it over the O. I kind of like, I'm kind of an offset girl. I like things kind of offset, asymmetrical a little bit. So I'm thinking maybe over the O. Yeah, that's where I want it. Okay, let's get it straight. Okay, so we have our Jody alphabet, we have our Magnificent Magnolia, we have our elongated ovals, and we have one more step, and that is a faux black splatter. Now, optional. If you wanted to bring something in, I would recommend champagne glitter drops, so you could do those, but I did not want to bring in more of color and that sort of thing. I want it to feel very black and white, okay, with these pops of metallic and a pop of color. So what I'm going to do is I just have, this is a Pilot twin marker. Any little felt tip pen, whatever would work. You don't need anything in particular. And we're going to draw on some faux splatter, okay? I'm literally just doing like little dots with my pen, okay? And I'm kind of doing them in a way that I would do my embellishments, kind of like over here and coming down over here. So, and then if you wanted to, you could bring it down onto the outer edge, but I think I like this. And my friend Carly T, she does this all the time. She calls it faux splatter. I'm going to make one of them a little bit bigger. So, okay. So how do we feel about faux splatter? I know it's not for everyone. You can totally do this with like paint or whatever, but why when you could do it with a pen? I was looking, I'm seeing congratulations. The winners are, oh, I gotta go up further. Oh my goodness, I lost them. They've just, you know, flown by in the comments, unless I didn't miss them. Oh, wait, I'm telling you, the comments are going so fast. Oh, and get ready for the second winner. So there's one winner, I missed it. Sorry, I was gonna announce it for you. Okay, faux black splatter going on. And here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and here. And then we're gonna do a little here here, and here. Okay. All right. So we have our faux black splatter done. Love those splatters. Okay. I wish I had caught the winners. I'm so sorry. Erika Hayes, I see that. Second winner. I missed the first winner, Kathleen. If you want to put that in the comments again, I will look for it. Oh, here we go. I found it. Ann Bennett. You're going to email customer service at Pinkfresh Studio to claim your prize. Allow 2 to 3 business days. So Ann Bennett, Erika Hayes, congratulations, 2 $50 gift card winners. Don't forget, if you're watching on the replay, you can leave a comment in the YouTube comments, in the regular comments, not in the chat or anything. Just leave a comment in the comments section at YouTube, and we're going to pick 2 more winners. Your comments have to be in there by February 3rd. So anyway, there you have it. 2 cards featuring the Magnificent Magnolia, kind of in a different way. Now, another way that you could kind of change this up would be to do hot foiling with the press plate for that Magnificent Magnolia in the background, and I think it would be so beautiful. I want to just say thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today. I am so glad you are here as I create with these fabulous products from Pinkfresh Studio. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Turn on the notifications here on Pinkfresh Studio. I'll be catching you here next week. I believe Kathleen and I are going live for a little preview. Just saying. Anyway, thanks for joining me today. If you have any questions, I'll try to catch the comments later on in this YouTube video. But I just want to say thank you so much for joining me here today, and I will see you again soon. Until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.